what's up?
What's up, Jeff? How's it going?
It's going good, man. It's going good. How are you doing? Chilling?
I'm doing good. I'm living the dream, right?
Yeah, that's the way to go. Wait, it's funny you say that. I used to back in the day. Andy talks about this on on the podcast sometimes. Like, man, you know the motherfuckers that say living the dream. He's like those motherfuckers are full of shit. So no, but it's just so funny because like back in the day, whenever I would talk to people and stuff like that, and people were like, "Man, what's up?" And I'm like, "Yo, living the dream." And I was actually like living the probably one of the biggest shit shows of my life.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that that's what you're doing. I'm just
No, I get
just
that. I
saying
totally
something
get
dumb.
that. I totally get that.
No, but man, honestly, you've been crushing it. You've been, getting uncomfortable, doing some pretty great things. I always like to see your and hear your perspective on life and um things that you're doing, as far as like whether it's competition with BJJ or just getting uncomfortable. You actually um inspired me to do something, which was for my birthday. Um, well, no, not for my birthday, but your birthday. You turned however old you were, and then you went and
Mm-hmm.
put those miles in that day, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
man, that
Yep.
sounds, I mean, like that just gets worse and worse every year. So,
Well, I'll tell you what, Jeff, I turned 40 this October, and I'm a mom of two little, they're not as little anymore. They're 8 and 6. And so I went through a rough patch of 5 years of going through postpartum depression. And I just I was smiling on the outside, but I was dying on the inside. And I was just not myself. I kind of hated myself. And I felt like I was just like going through the motions. And finally, I was able to like pull myself out of this fog that I was living in. But still, I wasn't like fully committing myself to like the potential that I wanted to do, that I wanted to go for. And so I'd say, oh yeah, I want to train for this, or I want to, lose the baby weight. Like I had like 15, 20 stubborn pounds that I just couldn't get off, but yet I wasn't like fully committed to actually doing that. And then I I learned about 75 hard and live hard that I started doing September 21st of 2019. And from there, that literally changed my life. Like I feel like it literally saved me. And so once I was turning 40 this October, I said, heading into that year, I had a personal mantra, and it was F40. I'm just going to F40, and I'm just going to go balls to the walls, and I'm going to be the best 40-year-old version that I'm ever going to be as a mom ever. And with no regrets, nothing. And I did, and I graduated from Live Hard, and I lost all the baby weight and even more. Like I gained so much, where I'm at this like whole nother euphoria of like success that I want to achieve for myself. And so for 40, I wanted to do something that I've never done before. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to walk 40 miles in honor of my 40th birthday. And so I did. It took about 13 hours and some change. It was crazy. My husband, Paul, he's 2 days younger than I. And so he did actually like 23 miles of it until he had to back out because he was starting to feel like foot injury. And so, he's an athlete. We met through college. We were both collegiate runners. And so I said, it's not worth it. So he pulled out, and I kept going. And it was crazy because I'm walking in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, it's dark. And I'm like hallucinating almost. Like I'm imagining things in front of me that aren't there, like elephants and all this crazy stuff, because I was so tired. Because we did this kind of like on the whim of a moment where, oh, we had an opportunity for somebody to watch the kids. So we started this in the evening at like 8 p.m. at night instead of like during the day. And so, like, sane people probably would have done. They would have prepared a lot better. But it was like literally, let's do this. We're dropping the kids off. Let's go. And we did. And, I was so tired. Once Paul and I broke away, there were times I would sit down on the curb just to kind of like catch my thought process, because I was starting to hallucinate. I'm like, okay, I'll just close my eyes for a minute. And then I thought, wait a minute, I could literally fall asleep out here. I got to get up and get going.
That's not safe to be sleeping on the sidewalk, dude.
I know. And so, I could tell at that point that my body was needing refuel. So at that point I was heading back into like our neighborhood, and I stopped at home to refuel, because I could tell that I was just getting so fatigued and I wasn't thinking clearly. And then after that, it was like a burst of energy. I forgot how many miles I had left, maybe 12 miles or something, but I just like felt so unstoppable after that. And, it was
even with
raining.
13 miles left.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
yeah.
When I'm doing something similar to that, like yesterday, we had 13 miles left, and I was like, bro, this sucks. I don't want to do another half marathon. But go ahead, my bad.
No, you know what? And you would think that was happening to me, but I just felt awesome, and it started raining. So it was like, okay, what more can happen? But
I remember
felt
seeing
so
that too.
good.
Yeah.
And afterwards, like, it was so worth it to me, doing something that I've never done before, that most people wouldn't do, to start a new decade of my life. And so, I want to keep doing things like that, really pushing myself out of the comfort zone, because we only have one life to live. And so I don't want to have regrets, when I get to the point in my life where I can't run anymore, or I can't box anymore, or I can't go to jujitsu or go cycling anymore. And so I got to do it now while I can. And I want to be a good role model for my kids too. That's important for Paul and I to teach them how to live a healthy lifestyle, and, be strong mentally and go through adversity, because we learn so much through our failures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what, when you say, let's see, so, when in the past I've had like a victim's mindset and stuff like that. What would you say that you had a victim's mindset in the past, like before, when you were dealing with the postpartum stuff, and like before you like started to develop, like the things that you were doing on your journey, right? Like when you had said, you know what, I haven't been given 100% of myself. Uh, would you say that at that time you had a victim's mindset before you started to make these changes? But also, once you started to make the changes and then recognize that, when you would kind of like, and then I'm kind of assuming here because you haven't answered the question yet, but on the days that the victim's mindset starts chewing on your shoulder or whatever, that bitch voice versus the boss voice, type thing, like, what do you do, or how do you respond, or like, give me your insight on that, your perspective on that kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, and through my postpartum, I think what was the hardest for me was, you go in 1 second not having a child to take care of, and then you come out of the hospital and your whole life has changed, and nothing can prepare you ever for raising a child. And no matter how many books you read, how many classes you go to, nothing. And so for me, it was like, I went from having a routine as an athlete, as somebody who ran competitively for a long time, to now my body's completely different. Now I just went through surgery. I can't do this for 6 weeks. I can't even drive. I have to literally nourish this child from my body, which was the hardest thing for me to ever do in my life. Like nursing was like my demon that I was battling. It was the most painful thing I've ever experienced in my life. And that's not like it for everybody, but for me it was. And so I had such bad anxiety when I had to feed, my daughter, I had to feed my son, I had to go out in public, and oh no, what if they get hungry? Like, what am I going to do? And so I had a lot of just like darkness I was living through. And then I would see, everybody on social media, like living this great life. And I'm like, wow, it must be really nice for them. Oh, it must be really nice for them, as I'm like sitting here miserable. And so I did, regret, not regret, but I did
Have
like
some sort of like resent. Yeah, I was about to. Yeah, yeah.
yes. And I carried that with me for a long time. And whether that's the hormones when it comes to depression or whatnot, like I did cut myself short a lot. And I did say to myself, oh, this is just how it's going to be. Like, it's not going to get any better. Like, you're done being this athlete. You're done, when your glory days are over, that's it. And I really lived in that for a long time. And I thought, well, you're getting older. Like, you can't keep up with the young kids anymore. Like, this is it. You're going to have aches and pains and all that. And so that really held me back a lot too. And yeah, victim mentality, it's hard. It takes a hold of you.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Because victim mentality can either kind of, if you can't take ownership of it, or like, acknowledge what it's doing to you and bringing you down, it's either going to make you or break you. It's just like adversity. Adversity is either going to make you or break you. You're either going to be able to use it for fuel, or it's going to be your kryptonite. And it's the same thing with like that victim mentality, right? Like, it's not going to be fuel, but it can be fuel in the idea that when you take ownership of it and you say, not today, this ends right here. I'm done with this here. I'm moving on in my life. I'm going to find out how to become a better athlete. I'm going to find a way to, not that you are a bad mom, but be a better mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like that. You're there, you're fighting for your kid. You're fighting. I've seen you, man, you've done, if there's a definition of somebody that like stands up for what they believe in, I've been watching you do that with your kids at school, and just like fighting for your family and what you believe in. It makes me teary-eyed, because like I love to see people that passionate about things that they believe in, because that's what we need in this country. You want to share like with people, like, kind of like some of the things that you battled with, that whether it's like in the community or what, I mean, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but if you want to share some of that, because I know you're super passionate about it. If you want to talk about that, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. So I'm a mom. I'm a teacher. I'm a coach. I coached track and cross country for a long time. And I was a teacher for 11 years at the school that I was at. It's the school that my kids go to currently still. And last year I live in Illinois, so we have had a really hard time with all the mandates going on through this whole two years. And so with that, last year, we were proud to be in school every single day with the students. Like, we had safety procedures, but nothing like felt really out of the norm. We were happy to be there. The kids were happy to be there. We flourished because, the spring before that, when we were all in lockdown, it was miserable. Teaching through Zoom was miserable. It was miserable for teachers, it was miserable for students. Everybody was very sad about it. It was just not ideal. And so last year, every single day in school, while most of the schools around us were going to Zoom education remotely. So we were really proud about that. And, we didn't have any stipulations other than following the safety procedures. And we got recognized by the actually town that our school's in, as they awarded us with Educators of the Year. And we were so proud of what we did. And, we were called heroes, and which I don't need that kind of title, because what I did, I didn't risk my life for doing. Jeff, you fought for this country. You risked your life for doing that. I went into a school building and taught my students just like I would any other day. So although it was nice to hear that title, I don't need that title, because I just did what I'm supposed to do. And so this school year, this August, things were starting to get a little bit more crazy, and our governor put out that all healthcare workers, public service workers, teachers need to then get the vaccine. Otherwise, they were going to have to test every week. And I did not support that. I felt like that should be somebody's choice. Everybody should have the freedom to choose. It is our God-given will to have that freedom for our own body. And also, that last school year, I already had COVID in November of 2020. And I was actually the first one in school who got it. And I had very mild symptoms. We had to do the whole quarantine at home and the kids. And to be honest, I couldn't quarantine away from them. I mean, they are my kids. My germs are all over this house. I have to take care of them. And, nothing happened. Nobody in my house got sick and whatnot. Nobody at school got sick from me. And I came back, and I was actually still teaching from home while I was, sick. And so fast forward to again this year, knowing that, and knowing that, the whole point of the vaccine at the time was you need to take it so you don't die. Well, I didn't die. I had very mild symptoms. And so I felt, again, it is my right to choose. I do not want to take it because I've already had it and I had mild symptoms. And I don't feel like it's right that I have to be singled out and test every week. And so myself and my coworker, who is also a veteran teacher at school, we did everything we could to have our voices heard by the people in charge. And they ignored us and ignored us. And then actually, this all happened in October 9th, my grandmother passed away, who they are immigrants from Poland. And I'm first generation American on my mom's side. And so I saw like what they had overcome in their own homeland, and then to come to this country. I had the privilege of going there and seeing where they came from. I had the honor of going to Auschwitz and seeing the concentration camps. And I know that what they went through. And my grandfather is still alive. He's 92 years old. And I just felt like, you know what? They sacrificed so much for us. I need to also like stand up for myself. And so my grandmother passed away on October 9th. Her funeral was October 16th. I turned 40 on October 26th. Paul's birthday is October 28th. He turned 40 as well. I had surprised him with a trip to Colorado for his 40th birthday. He did not know. And that same day, I got terminated along with my coworker because of the mandates. And so after 11 years, we were told you cannot come back to work on Monday. And so that was really hard. It was devastating. It was so hard on the students. It was hard on my own kids. They didn't understand, why I couldn't come into school anymore. And it was just so heartbreaking that, I was considered a hero last year, quote unquote, but I was expendable this year. And thankfully, things are starting to really go in a positive direction in Illinois right now. We finally got the mask mandates dropped. And I hope and pray that the testing mandates and the vax mandates get dropped too. So I don't regret it, because I need to stand up for what I believe in. And it's not just for me, but it's for my kids someday as well. Their freedoms.
Yeah, no, I agree with you majorly, but hearing what you said, and when they go and they make you a hero, and then, or label you a hero, and then the next year the switch is completely flipped. Well, there's a lot of us that still view that your actions and everything as like heroic, for the simple fact of like, when you can still fight for what you believe in despite going completely against the grain. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you and I, we have a lot of similar beliefs as far as like where we stand and stuff like that, and just on basic freedoms and choice and stuff. Because that's one thing that's major with me, is like, I didn't fight for this country because I think we should be told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I believe people. I don't care what you believe in politically. I don't care what you believe in this way, as long as it's not going to hurt other people and affect the way that I go about my day and how I do things. Right? Like, as long as it's not going to cause harm to somebody else, I don't give a shit what you do. I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, I believe that people should be able to be free and range free with whatever process or job, or whatever you want to do. Like, I'm not going to judge you for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless it inflicts harm on another person, right?
Sure.
So
Mm-hmm.
man, that's incredible. But hey, look, you are still a hero in my book, man. Like, freaking it's always weird being, because as a veteran, people, all the time, like that, man, thank you for your service. And it's just like, I mean, I'm just doing my job. Like, I'm just doing what I believe in, man. Like, you don't have to thank me of that. Just how you got to, like, if you really believe it in your heart, like, your eyes say it, your actions say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that stuff means so much. You know what I'm saying? So, despite all the adversity, all the things that went against you, you still stayed true to your you still stayed true to the journey, you still stayed true to the path, what your word meant, and when your word means something and your word carries weight, that's so important in this life. Because if your word doesn't mean shit, what happens with money and look, I know we're not rich, but what happens when you don't have any money? You know what I'm saying? Like, your word's all you got, like, and if you work, you ain't got shit if you ain't got, so, look, we got a comment from Noel right here.
Thank you, Noel. I appreciate that. Thank you, Terry.
Yep. And Terry, that's Mama Bear, man. That's my
mom. You're so sweet.
So
yeah, I mean, it was definitely hard during that time because, like, not many people were standing up, and so
it was scary. It's scary because they were making it out to be like you get attacked for it. You know what I'm saying? There's so many people that were over that. But yeah, go ahead. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, not at all. And so now we've seen a difference. Like, parents are really coming out of the woodwork to unmask their kids at school. And, people are rising up, which is so great because, like you said, it's all about just giving the freedom to the people. And, all the military who have fought for our country, like, that was also in the back of my mind. Like, I don't want their efforts to go, in vain. Like, they risk so much so that we can have the freedoms of choice. And so it was hard to like speak out. I mean, there was a long time that there were a lot of people didn't even know that I was fired from work because you couldn't really talk to people about it, without them either attacking you or like saying negative things about you. And so it was dark times for me, but I'm glad to see things are changing.
Yeah, I think, and people gain courage. And that's the thing, is that when you can give people hope and you can give people courage and stuff like that, that's exactly what the definition of, I'm not gonna say it's the definition of being a hero, but it's definitely when you show that much courage and you show that much will and mental fortitude, intestinal fortitude, if you will, towards, your self-belief, and you're not going to just like change because, oh, well, everybody's going to hate me or whatever, like, but because it's right. And that's some of the core values that, is it doesn't matter if you don't like what I'm doing. It's for the greater good of other people. You don't have to understand what I'm doing. You just have to know that all I want is what's best for you. We both know, like, the people, like, if you wear a mask and you're getting mad at me for not wearing a mask, you should probably have your head checked. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then the stuff was even coming out like where people would, and look, if you don't understand things, or if you don't understand science or whatever, hey man, do some real research and don't attach yourself to like your political opinion or political support or whatever. Actually use your common sense. If I don't take a vaccine, or if I don't take a jab or whatever, if I don't put these chemicals on my body, me putting chemicals on my body does not affect what you have going on in your body. You know what I'm saying? Especially not in a, whatever. So anyway, I'm not going to get into a political thing, because I actually can't stand politics. I know it's important to understand them.
Me too.
I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm a freaking patriot, man.
Yes.
Hey, I love my country. I love what this place stands for. The biggest thing for me about this place is, if you came from the struggle, if you are an underdog, America loves underdogs. Who doesn't like a good Rocky story of seeing somebody get the shit kicked out of them? Yep. People are sadistic, man. People like to see people get kicked the shit out of, get knocked down, get stuck in the mud, and then watch them rise. Yep. Like, literally, people thrive on seeing people suffer, maybe not suffer, but literally suffer and come from nothing to become great. That's why a lot of people get behind people that have a strong backbone, because they're like, yo, that guy, that girl is an inspiration to others, because like we should follow along with some of their moral beliefs. I love the way that they stand up for shit. They don't care what anybody thinks. You know what I'm saying? They don't give a shit if you tell this person this, or if this person tells me this. I'm still riding the wave, bro. Like I don't care. I'm out here blocking bullshit. Like, I don't know if you watch Cat Williams, but that's where that's from.
I don't, but I love it. I love it.
You know, so, man, hey, look, tell me about, because I don't train jujitsu or anything like that, but there's a lot of mentalities. I follow people that do a lot of jujitsu and stuff like that. My little cousin is real big into jujitsu and MMA. Actually, he's pro in MMA. So I'm always like fascinated with that stuff, because these guys, like y'all guys, gals, like the ones that are after it, that's not out there for, you're not a belt chaser, or you're not like doing it because you just want to maybe get on Facebook one time and maybe like do a promotion, like you're going to go to like, do an MMA fight and then like back out of it or something like that because you just want the hype, right?
Yeah.
Like, but for the people that don't do it for a personal gain of like being a local celebrity, I guess you could say, what does jiu-jitsu do for you? Because I know I've asked my cousin this before, and I love the answer. I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna have him on here also to talk about. So I don't want to talk about his mentality. But what do you think, or how does Brazilian jiu-jitsu helps you? And tell me about the competition, because you had never done that before.
Yeah. So I'd never even planned to do jiu-jitsu. It was my husband, Paul, like I said, we were runners in college. Like that's really most of what we did. We're very competitive people. We're very competitive with each other. And then, after a while, it's like, okay, we've done running for such a long time. Like, what else can we do? And we both, love watching UFC and watching those types of competitions. And then, one day he's like, I'm gonna join jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, okay. And so he did. And this was like before the lockdown. And so then he kept doing it. And then it went back to actually the following fall. He's like, why don't you come to class with me? And so I did. I think it was my birthday. It was either my birthday or his birthday. And so I went to class. It was my first time. Like, I didn't have no idea what I'm doing. And so it is the most humbling experience of my life. Like, it is, that's how I could sum up jiu-jitsu. It's very humbling because I like to think I'm a pretty coordinated, athletically skilled
Shit, you're
person.
athletic as hell. Yeah. I mean,
And going to jiu-jitsu, it will put you back into place and be like, nope, not today, because it doesn't matter what kind of athlete you are. You will get your butt handed to you because it's a whole different type of skill set. And you have to, a lot of people think, oh, I'll just use my strength, where it's not that. You're learning the technique, and you're learning how to get out of this move and get out of that move. And you're learning how to do offense while you're doing defense. And so, after that class, I think I'm like a tomboy type of person. And so I like the Rocky movies. I like things like that, sports like that. And so, I was boxing already for 6 years before I started doing this. And I thought, you know what, this is kind of cool, and, most importantly, it helps with your discipline. It helps with your brain, trying to think really quickly while you're in the middle of this person literally on top of you with all of their weight, trying to choke you out, armbar you. And it's also great for self-defense, as a female. That's something that's important, to learn how to defend yourself. And so I started doing that. I got injured last summer from doing the Goggins challenge, and I didn't recover well enough. And so then I was kind of out of jiu-jitsu for a while. And then came this fall, I started to really get into it more. Before I was still testing the waters, but then I thought, you know what if I did a competition? What else do I have to lose? Right. And so this January 15th, I did my first ever competition. It was unlike anything I've ever experienced. It was very, like I said, humbling. You go in there, and I'm not the type of person that I don't want to lose. That's not why I do these competitions, to lose. But did I expect to win everything? No. But so I ended up losing both my matches that I had, and I was really upset afterwards. The first match I lost on points, and the second match I got stuck in an armbar. And so after that second match, I was really upset at myself, and I left the gym, and I was crying, and I was just like, gosh, I hate this. I'm terrible at this. This, I don't want to do this anymore. And then I had some time to reflect, and I'm thinking, you know what, Diana, you did this as a 40-year-old. You competed against a 34-year-old and a 21-year-old who has competed before. And this was your first time. And you did the best that you could do under the circumstances. And I didn't see any other 40-year-old woman there, because there wasn't. Otherwise, I would have competed against them.
Plus, how long have they been training for? You know what I'm saying? These other people, maybe they had been in it since I went to school with people that had done, and I mean, it's not jiu-jitsu, but taekwondo from since they were 6. Mm-hmm. And at 18, you've got 12 years in combat type, sport, or self-defense and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You're literally in a different league than somebody that comes in within a year or two. Even in boxing, you're not exchanging punches like that. Mm-hmm. It's a whole different thing. And everything is and look, I don't know a whole lot about it, but everything is not everything is not a calculated move if you're not as experienced there yet. But
Sure.
a lot of guys, girls that are really great at it, everything is a calculated move. They'll do something or kind of feint this way to make you go for this, and the next thing you know, they got you like in a necktie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or they're like swinging around you like a spider monkey, and the next thing you know, you're folded up into a pretzel, and it's like, how did I get here? What did I?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's people that are that like tactically strategic, like they're that advanced in it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Look at, I don't know if you saw the comment earlier. It was kind of funny from Noelle. Friggin', she decided she wanted to be able to beat the crap out of people for fun.
Oh man, I will tell you, man, it's like you go into the ring, like you get on the mat, and all of a sudden the ref's there, and it goes by, it's like, okay, shake hands and then start. And it's like an out of body experience because you're fighting against somebody you've never competed with before. So you have no idea what tools they have in their arsenal. You know what I mean? And like, it goes by so quickly, but yet so slowly. And then you're like, wow, what the heck just happened? And that's how I feel a lot of times. Like even today at practice, like some days I'm like, what the heck happened? Like, that was terrible. Like today I had like brain freeze. I couldn't get the choke down. And then I get really mad at myself and I'm like, wow, I'm terrible. I'm not progressing the way I want. And then other days I'm like, wow, I connected the dots. I put this move and I was able to get out of this and then do this. And so like humbling is just my summary of what jiu-jitsu is. Like, with running, I could tell I'm getting better because I have a time I could compare to. And with jiu-jitsu and the competition,
a time and feelings.
Yes.
And feelings, because you can feel the endurance, like, oh, that wasn't that bad.
Mm-hmm. With jiu-jitsu,
you feel the progression.
Yeah, I had nothing to compare from. And that's why I was so upset at myself when I lost, because I'm like, well, I just lost. Like, and I thought that was the end of the world, but it's not. And so I'm crazy enough and I'm going to do another competition in April.
Hell yeah. Would you say, or I think, I'm pretty sure that this is, I would think that this is kind of like how you feel. Of course you want to win.
Yeah.
But if you don't lose, what would your mentality have been if you would have won both of them, like whatever? So for the tournament, right? Because it'd have probably been more than those two matches because you'd have went advanced into a different whatever, right? Excuse me. If you would have won, let's say you won the whole tournament, right? Like you're the best of that, right? You would have went home. You probably wouldn't have, you would have been proud, probably wouldn't have contemplated too much.
Yep.
But with losing, you were like, man, I should have done this. I should have done that. What did I do wrong? Like this person really handled me here. Like, and you start like literally breaking the event down like you're watching film, or maybe y'all had film. So like you'd have won. Yeah, you'd have won. You'd have been like, okay, yeah, I did good here. I did good here. But it's hard. It's harder to go and then get a lesson from when you win than it is when you lose. Like, for me, just like even when Noelle and I did that run at the Forgotten Florida, had we both crossed the finish line, I wouldn't have known that feeling of that sacrifice right there that I had the opportunity to take, I don't want to say take advantage of, but that took place, right? Like that was so powerful, failing in that experience. That was so powerful to me to learn what that meant, that it had been a long time since I kind of like competed with somebody like as a team. So if we would have both crossed the finish line, I literally would not have analyzed shit about what we did. I'd been like, boom, you know what I'm saying? We'd have slapped hands, hugged, whatever, took pictures, had a victory little, whatever afterwards. And then, but I was more proud that she finished than if I would have finished. Even if I would have finished, I would have still been more happy that she finished than I finished.
Yeah.
So being that I didn't, and having the opportunity to still be so proud, like happier that she finished it. Like I was like, well, she finished, so that me DNFing doesn't even matter. I don't care. Like I'm irrelevant. Like that's the kind of team player that I've kind of like learned to be, or like developed into. I mean, I was always about sacrifice. Sacrifices, very very relevant in team sports. You know what I'm saying? Like you should
Yeah.
always be willing to sacrifice for the greater good, the betterment of the team. Um, I forgot where I
Yeah.
was going with that.
No, but yeah, you're completely right, because if I would have won those matches, then I would have thought, wow, I'm so good. And I
that's what
would
I
have
was trying to
probably
say. That's what I
settled.
was trying to ask you. The
Yeah.
mentality, of the loss.
Where we learn more from our losses than our wins, because what those losses meant for me is that I went back and I started training harder. I started, training more. And so I probably wouldn't have done that if I would have won. So yeah.
Big time, man. Big time on, like 100% agree with you on that and the losses. You do you and your husband ever just like, start like trying to choke each other, choke each other? Y'all get mad at each other and just like, wrap the belt around, be like, you know what? You're done today, bro. I got you now. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll like practice with each other a lot. I mean, he's full
Does he
a lot farther advanced.
does he ever get the best of you and you just be like, go to sleep, dude? Game over.
Like we goof around with each other a lot. Like, I'll like come and like try and like choke him and stuff like that. But it's all in fun and games. And he's taught me so much. I mean, if he didn't start this journey, there's no way I would have. And so, I mean, jiu-jitsu was never on my radar. And so both of our kids, Michaela and Anthony, they are now doing jiu-jitsu. So all four of us are doing it. And it's been great for the kids too, because, it develops their self-confidence. And especially in a sport that a lot of people don't necessarily do, you see little kids doing soccer and baseball and football, but I mean, I don't know any other little kids who are doing jiu-jitsu. And so it's been really cool that we have become a jiu-jitsu family. And, my kids say that they want to do a competition sometime. And so that'll be exciting to be cheering for them, because this is their first real sporting team that they're a part of. And so it's been awesome to see how jiu-jitsu has connected all four of us. And we've bonded a lot through this martial art. So
You man, sports and working together always brings out the best. I think always brings out the best in everybody, and it kind of, it's a way to sports are so like everything to do with sports is like relative to life. You know what I'm saying? With winning and losing and just being a team player and stuff like that. But I have a somewhat of a silly. I mean, do you ever inflict jujitsu on the kids? For discipline, everybody. Like, get over here before I put you in a little ankle lock or a wrist lock or stuff. You get over here before I put you in a little Kimura or Americana. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just catch them just cutting. No. You don't ever just make them like kind of tap or something, like make them say mommy or nothing.
No. I mean, sometimes they'll do it to each other, which we tell them like, you guys, this is for class or this is for self-defense. Like, we're not doing this to hurt each other, or if you're practicing. So sometimes they'll like get mad at each other and like try and pull something. But as far as anything else, if we're not practicing, then we're not really doing it. But that's funny.
Noelle, she's judging me out here. Now we can all imagine how Jeff would be as a parent. Damn right. Yo,
you better get over here. I'm going to armbar you right now.
I turn my kids into some little savages, bro. Like, I mean, I'll be like, get over here so I can choke you out real quick. So, man, yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I mean, having my kids doing it starting at such a young age, Like if they keep going with it, they'll be way farther, way more talented than
kids are
I
so
ever will.
malleable, you know, and they
Yeah.
pick up things like, you know, not that, I mean, I don't have kids, but I've been around a ton of kids, you know, and oh shit, it seems like everybody's got kids. So I don't really need any.
Yeah, you can just borrow mine. It's fine.
I can't, you can't exchange them once they're yours. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'd be
I
like,
mean,
I'd be calling my mom and be like, Mom, do we have any dog kennels left? Like, I need to put this son of a gun in timeout. You know, like,
yeah.
look, nobody send me any hate mail. I'm just kidding.
No, we get it. We get it. But I mean, my daughter's 8, and there's no way as an 8-year-old girl I would have done this. Like she was just right in there, like no hesitation, rolling with the boys. She's like, yeah, this is great. I would have been like, I don't want to go. I'm too nervous. I don't want to roll with the boys. And it's just funny, you know, the different personalities of, you know, family members in your household.
Yeah. So, how did you find First Form? How did you get? Oh wait, hold on, wait. I see we got another comment.
Yeah, no,
well, my brothers just went full savage mode when I was growing up. Not skilled like BJJ. No, they just beat the piss out of each other or you or whatever, right?
Oh, and Emily said she loves us. We love you too, Emily.
Love you, beautiful people. We love you too. Man, we got some big dogs in the house today.
I know.
Got Noelle, got my
all
mom.
This love. Oh, we all have to see each other in
Byron.
person. Yeah.
Byron's one of my veteran brothers and stuff like that. We got my mom's in the house.
Awesome.
Hey, it's always a good show when we got moms in the house. I don't know if mom could let me do a show and not pop in. You know, that's how.
That's so sweet.
Do you want to talk about like one thing, because we're at about 47 minutes right now, but one thing to think about is like what you would want to tell, or like what advice would you have for mothers and like getting on the journey with, you know, just like when you have all kind of things standing in your way, or like, you know, different things that you might go on, you know, like I don't know what a mother goes through mentally, but just think of have something that you would because after this, next thing I want to ask you about that, and I forgot what that other question was.
No, that's okay. No, I get what you are saying. The biggest thing I would tell moms is don't be afraid to make yourself a priority. Mom guilt is so real, and you feel guilty for wanting to take a break from your kids, a break from your family. You feel guilty for just wanting 10 minutes alone, or for wanting to go to the store alone, or go outside, or go exercise. And that's also what contributed, I think, to my anxiety and depression, is that my mom guilt had me as a prisoner, and I felt like I was being a bad mom because I wasn't making myself a priority. And when we make ourselves a priority, then we can better take care of the other people in our life, because we are better taking care of ourselves.
I like that. Hey, do you have a power list?
I did. I don't currently, but I did. I feel I kind of like mastered all those. So I haven't created a new one, which I should. But I did have a power list.
What are some of your everyday 100% staples? Like things that you do? I'm going towards a specific thing. And basically I'm asking you your power list that you're not writing down.
Yeah.
Like making your bed.
Sure.
Doing a workout. Drinking a gallon of water or whatever. Like what are some like maybe 5 things that you do? Yeah. But I'm forcing you to say
no, this is
and it doesn't have to be what they recommend, you know, what we do. It's just because like I have a different power list. Like every day, just make your bed, you know, journal. And then sometimes I fail on that one. So like it's not exactly 100% considered a win for the day. But mentally, I know that if I can create 1 to 5 things that are within my control, whatever kind of day I'm having, that those are the wins, right? Those are my wins for the day. Like, and I
Yeah.
control that. It doesn't matter like how I feel over here or what happens here. It doesn't matter that I got toothpaste on my shirt or like my shorts are catching on the drawer, because you know that only happens whenever you're pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna get stuff hung on a doorknob. Your favorite shorts are gonna rip the hell open. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So like,
Oh, I know.
go through that power, or like kind of a somewhat of a power list with me. Let me know that.
Sure. Before I do that, Terry, yes, you feel very blessed to go to the bathroom without interruption. Like that already happened to me in preparation of getting ready for this amazing podcast. So yes. So my
Kids
power
are like
list.
little dogs.
I know they follow you everywhere. Like, and it's like when you're about to do something important, they need something. But anyways, so my power list, like things that I've mastered, that I have to do. So I have to get in my daily movement, whether it is an actual like high intensity workout, or it's just an active recovery day where I'm just, doing a walk, or maybe doing like a core workout, something a little bit easier. That's something that I just feel like I have to do for my own sanity. And it's just stuck with me ever since I've done 75 hard. For a long time, I was still doing my outdoor workouts, and I went up to like 360 something days in a row. And then after a while, I'm like, okay, I feel like it's not being intentional, and I feel like I'm just forcing myself to do it. So I've kind of taken a break from that. But I do want to start that back up, because that was just like a really great personal goal that I made for myself. So daily movement, I get in my gallon of good old H2O every day. Um, this doesn't really count for every day, but I haven't drinking any alcohol since September 21st, 2019. I mean, I don't know exactly if that was the last time I drank any alcohol, but that was when I started Live Hard. So that's been really amazing for me, because I feel like such a deepened part of clarity without that in my body, especially that I'm, getting older.
I can agree with that.
So I have that. I've actually given up junk food, and I don't have any like treats or anything.
Wait,
I
you don't eat
still
gummy bears or anything?
No. And
Oh my
Jeff, like
God.
candy is my like my family calls me the candy queen, because I love candy. I love ice cream. And I haven't had a piece of candy, any ice cream, any cake. I mean, we all in my household, all of our birthdays is in October, and I didn't have any birthday cake for the past 2 Octobers. And so that's something that is my daily, like, just discipline. The kids, they get special treat after they eat their food, or they did like something really good. And you know how easy I used to just go into their Halloween candy, go into their Valentine's candy, and just stuff my face with like Reese's and stuff like that. So I make it part of my routine where I don't eat it. And so I've kind of cut that addiction that our brain has for that sugar. It's like disappeared. So that's just something that I keep cognizant of, staying away from that. Yeah, I'm trying to think anything else. I try and have every single day, give a compliment to somebody, whether it's somebody in person where they're they're bringing out groceries to the car, or I'm checking out at a store, having conversation with them and making them feel like they're not just there to do a job, but that they're a real person behind their job. And, maybe they're having a bad day, and maybe your conversation, whether it's, how are you doing today? Or what are your plans for today? Or when are you done working today, can really, make somebody's work hour or work day. So, I
Not
try
just
and do
saying it
that.
in passing, but like
Yeah.
actually being um um like caring when you say it.
Mhm.
Like how many people are like, hey, how you doing today? They don't really give a shit.
No.
Like they don't really care. Like they say it in passing, like say, hey man, what's like, you know, I hope you have a good day, or like, you know, hello or whatever. But instead some people say, how you doing? And then, I mean, literally like, oh, I'm doing good. And you, and I mean, literally it's impact. Neither one, there was no intention behind that whatsoever. So if you, you know, show a little bit of compassion, a little bit of, you know, empathy, caring, like be actual, very intentional, like with, not just like walking past somebody and like looking the other way. You don't even know what the person looks like that you asked them how they're doing. Maybe they're crying, but you don't even know it because you're not even looking that way. You're just like eyes forward, walk, how you doing? You know, and it's very unintentional, right?
Yes.
It's not deliberate at all. So whenever you slow your life down a little bit, hey man, how you doing today? You know, fucking like, what's your name? So I wasn't trying to say the F-bomb just now, but I don't even know how that slipped out. I was like, poop, gone. I was like, where'd that come from? I wasn't even trying to curse, you know. So
well, yeah, I mean, have you ever had somebody who you're just like saying, hi, how are you? And them actually say, I'm not doing well? Like people harvest their feelings. They're always going to say, I'm doing fine, when they're probably not.
Yeah, it might not.
So, yeah.
Okay, I want to try and wrap this up real quick. You what, like, do you have a mantra that you live by? Like, what's your mantra? What's your like favorite quote that just like when you think about it, it inspires you, and then kind of like it's just sticks, you know, something that drives you to be more.
A mantra that's always like in the back of my mind is, you only see the obstacles when you lose sight of the goal. And we have all these distractions in our lives. We all do. We have all these things that make and give us excuses as to why I didn't do this, why I didn't do, why I didn't do that. And a lot of times we let those distractions get the best of us. And when that happens, then we stop our own progress for whatever we're trying to achieve. And then that becomes an excuse for us. So if you don't let those obstacles fog your mind and block your road to the point where you can't even see the road 2 feet in front of you, then you're not going to lose sight of your goal, and you're going to always keep going forward, even despite those struggles that may come along the way.
That's incredible. So it's, you'll only see the obstacles when you lose sight of the goal. I can do that resonates so deep with inside me, man. I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm going to write that down. Freaking, because it's so true. Because when you're so driven on something, when you're so driven on a goal, you don't care what it takes to accomplish that goal. But the second that you start focusing on that other stuff, you start slowing down. Like, you know, again, you got to be able to push through the mud. You've got to be able to trudge the mud. Like when nobody else believes it, if you don't still believe it, it's you're gonna like suffer immensely, like majorly. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna slow you down. You're not gonna get to where you're going, or like you can get to where you're going, but you lose sight of everything else due to being distracted and like actually focusing on the obstacle instead of focusing on the daily plan, that 30, 60, 90, that, you know, everyday grind, that monotonous, you know, everyday. It's called the grind for a reason, because it's not easy. You know, what is it? It's like grinding. What is grinding? It's friction. You know, like you think of something grinding, it's not necessarily a fun, or it's not good for two things to grind together, right?
Yeah.
Like something starts to take place, whether it's heat, things start to break down, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I like that. I love that. You only see the obstacles when you lose sight of the goal. Man, I love that. And I think that's a great mantra to have. And I think that's a great key to end on. Thank you so much for tuning in with me, Diana. If y'all want to know where to follow her, her IG handle is where her name would be, at View from Lane 4 on Instagram. If you want to put out any other information or like where else to contact you, go ahead and do that, Diana.
Yeah, the best way to do that is view from lane 4, or you could email me at theviewfromlane4@gmail.com. If you have any questions about anything, like I said, I'm a teacher, I'm a running coach. If you just have mom questions, I feel as though God has called me to help others through their struggles. So don't be afraid to reach out.
Absolutely. And y'all, Diana is one of my teammates. I'm proud of her. I freaking love her. She's awesome. She's a rock star. And that's why we had her on the show, because she doesn't see the obstacles. She stays focused on that goal, man. So thank you for coming on here, Diana. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
you.
Jeff. This was awesome. It was a pleasure.
Hang tight in the studio. I'm going to end this.